This is going to be a different type of reading. It's a relational reading, not a relationship reading, but a relational reading. And it's going to focus on two particular people in the collective. You may be either one of them, but one of them is you, one of them is somebody you may be engaging in any type of a relationship with at all. The idea here is that human behavior follows patterns. We all struggle with a lot of the same things, and we all have to learn a lot of the same lessons. So, if you'd like to experience this, please stick around. If not, you're welcome to go. But the first thing we want to do is figure out who the players are today. Hopefully, this will make more sense as this goes along. We've got the pioneer in the shadow. Compulsive need to keep moving on. So somebody who's not being very pioneering, doesn't want to go anywhere. Pioneer in the shadow and the poet expresses soul insights in symbolic language. Let's see what the challenges are here for each of these folks. Pioneer first. All right. The champion. Somebody is seeking recognition, and they're not moving on because they haven't gotten the recognition that they've desired. And now the poet. Somebody is a rebel in all senses of the word. I love it, though. We've got the poet. Somebody has a way with words. You may be a writer. You may be a musician, writing a songwriter. You might just be a poet as well, to just write. You have a way with words. And you have the witch. You have a very unique way of expressing that into the world that is unlike anybody else. I think as far as the poet is concerned, your big challenge is feeling comfortable to do things in your own unique way and breaking out of tradition. And we are in conflict with a pioneer. This is somebody who doesn't really have a lot of their own ideas, but is really looking to fulfill, achieve, create, get recognition. The champion is about seeking that recognition, but it also talks about what it is that binds you to it. And somebody here seems to be seeking a lot of external validation. They're wanting recognition. They want something out of this situation, and they're not moving on. We're gonna use the Cat People Tarot and see what we got. Okay, we'll take those 4, and I will unveil them in a second. You want me to take these 2 as well. So these are your inner challenges. What are the challenges that you have with each other? You start again with the pioneer. Rest. Somebody does not stop. And then for the poet, oh wow, somebody does not stop. So this champion who does not stop, who doesn't want to let go, who is determined to keep following things in this same direction, it feels like somebody who is really workaholic. quite frankly, somebody who has to be doing, has to be going, has to be accomplishing the next best thing. Uh, there is a level of recognition that this person is desperate to have, seeking external validation from, yeah, it feels like work, and it feels like somebody is just, they're not coming up with any ideas, but they just keep pushing, 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 pushing for achievement. Can't we do better? We need to do better. We need to do better, but they're not actually creating any ways for that better to take off, because there is saying you want better, and then there is actually putting in that work. Now, this other person, so we have this like external validation driven go getter who won't rest and probably doesn't want anybody else around them to slow down either until they get that recognition that they feel that they want. But it has nothing to do with anybody else's recognition or needs or anything like that. That's what's driving them. The poet here, the poet is struggling with focus. And, if we're struggling with rest here, you're probably also struggling with rest. And that is definitely borking your focus. And I think that the problem is also that you're not speaking up, poet. You're not speaking up. You're not asserting your needs. And that is, I'm certain, difficult around somebody who just wants to keep going and pushing and doesn't really think about anybody else. But your options are like, I stay silent and I push through, or I take off. And there's so much more in between that. Let's take a look at the tarot here. Knight of Cups, Knight of Wands. Wow. Ten of Cups, Page of Cups. Very interesting. The poet definitely having more cups in there, You got to have some soul in order to be a poet. And you are seeking a Ten of Cups. You are seeking that ultimate satisfaction and achievement, but internal abundance. It's that heart-centered abundance. It is the joy, the laughter, the love, the home, the family, that security that you're seeking. And you're starting to, it's funny because we've got the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Cups over here, and somebody is like, hey man, we need to put some heart in this. And the other person is like, yeah, I don't think so. We're just gonna keep pushing with that Knight of Wands coming in really fast, coming in unprepared. And also, I think the Knight of Cups, so this person has a problem with love bombing. So we may come in and present this new idea and be all, look how great this is. It's going to be given, it's going to give you this, it's going to give you this. It's going to get us here by like 6 months' time, and it's going to be awesome. And oh, here's a bonus for you, a little present, little gift, whatever. There's a lot of love bombing. And as I look at this Ten of Cups, he's looking at this Knight of Wands, who is really like this. The face on the cat is just very devious, and that's what I see. And it's like this Knight of Wands is looking for a moment to explode and unleash that fiery passion on other people, but not in a good way. He's got that club ready to beat some heads. This Page of Cups looks the Page of Cups looks really disappointed. They also feel like they don't have much. So for somebody who is so deep and so full of words and so full of thought, you think like you've got nothing. And maybe that's why you're sticking around, because you feel like what you have isn't good enough for anything else. You really wanted this Ten of Cups here. You really wanted that ultimate, that fulfillment and that safety and that home and love and family. And this situation isn't bringing that to you. And you know it. And you're like, here's that Ten of Cups. And I swear, every time I look at this card, I see him looking at his phone. I see him looking at his phone, like waiting for it to come in, and it's just never going to come in because the Knight of Wands is blocking it. Because every single cup that is brought forward, every single heartfelt gesture, it's all empty. It's all empty. It is simple manipulation. This is a situation where I think people know it's time to move on to somewhere calmer and safer. I don't think this situation has a place where folks can meet in the middle. But let's start with this. Should there be a place where this could be resolved? What does it involve? It involves intention. And if people do not have the intention to change, it's not going to change. So whether you are the poet or the pioneer in the shadow, regardless of whichever one you are, this situation is not going to change because neither person in this situation wants to change. The poet seems to be just sitting there spinning their wheels and waiting for something else happy to show up, waiting for that final cup. And they seem to know that it isn't in this, it's not here, although they seem to be not being honest with themselves about it. The pioneer in shadow is just desperate for that recognition and will continue to do anything until they get it. That's their intention. And that's not changing either. So when people aren't willing to change, they're not going to change. You can't sit there and think that, well, if I give them another 6 chances, not if they're not doing anything differently. And it doesn't matter what they say, it doesn't matter how many conversations you have or what things you say in a conversation. Doesn't matter how good your word skills are, poet. If the intention is not there, then things are not going to change. Wow. So, some final advice here, shadow work prompts for the pioneering in the shadow here. Open your heart to relationships without expectations and connections that allow you to be as you are. And what I hear in that very clearly is that goes both ways. So, understanding the humanity in others, and I think with I must have that recognition and we must achieve at the expense of everything else, you're not really acknowledging what other people's needs are and who they are. I don't know if that's going to change for you. I feel like if you're finding some dissatisfaction in your life and you do want to change, then, it's about dropping the need for external validation and then also managing everybody around you in order to get that. It is really, really important. For the poet, you are a beautiful place to call home. Home is where you sit. It is in the beats of your heart and the warmth of your hands. Gosh, if this could tie in with everybody else, it's that solo journey again. You need to step out on your own, in your own direction, poet. You need to find what it is that you want to do. I feel like, we're tagging onto or joining other forces with others out of the sense that we don't have enough on our own. Like, we're here, like, there's 10 cups here, right? But it's like if you leave, you only take one with you. Quite frankly, I think you brought all 10 of these cups in the first place. And so you leave with certainly more than one. But you also need to pay attention to how relationships are draining you. And when we go from a situation where, what we thought was everything satisfaction to I don't have anything left, then it's really time to evaluate whether this relationship is serving you anymore. That's okay if it isn't, because we gain and lose people in our lives all the time. Sometimes people come in and out of our lives in a moment to serve an important purpose. Sometimes people stick with us for a while and then we grow apart. And that's just life. That is just how life happens. And the more we cling to the past, the less our future is going to change for the better. You can't bring back the past, but you can make a better future. And if everything in the universe is pointing you towards move on, this isn't satisfying you anymore, then it's time to move on. And if there's anything that describes that, it's this card. Your life story is like an intricate piece of artwork. Each turn, twist, and evolution makes you the unique, beautiful soul that you are. This is not a failure. This is a completed cycle that you learn and grow from, and you take that knowledge and you move forward, and you use that lesson, these understandings, to build yourself up. Next poet. Trust yourself to catch yourself. Understanding your needs and acknowledging your inner child allows you to start building this trust. Don't compromise your needs. Don't compromise your values with anyone ever to get ahead. Because the second you start doing that, you've compromised yourself. You can't give up things that are basic needs for yourself that you need to feed you just to achieve some goal. There's so much future faking happening. And that has been a theme in the last few readings. Lots of future faking, lots of people not delivering on promises, and folks needing to go their separate ways. So whichever side, the poet or the pioneer in shadow, whichever one you resonate with, this is definitely a situation that you need to move on from. In order to continue to grow and find fulfillment, staying in this relationship will not bring you anything but stuck in the same place, spinning your wheels. So, different kind of reading. I hope you enjoyed that, and we're going to do some more like this, I guess, moving forward in the future, because I got an inspiration. So, love you. Bye.